Happy
What's up?
AnimeNEXT.
Hello.
Hello, friends.
Are you ready? Checks notes. New Brunswick.
21-year retrospective.
Of AnimeNEXT anime music videos.
21.
All right. So
Old enough to drink this contest.
It is, and so are we, by a lot.
So are we.
So I pitched this years ago
To this guy.
to this guy. That I felt like we should do a retrospective. This con is very old at this point, which is crazy to me because I was a college student in 2002 when I attended the first AnimeNEXT.
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Before we go any further, who are you again?
Let's do that. So hi, everybody. My name is Mike Labrie. You may see me online as VegettoEX, and if you don't know that, that's totally cool. Check out Dragon Ball online. There's cool stuff about Dragon Ball on the internet. I ran the AMV contest at AnimeNEXT from 2003 to 2008 as a college student into a working adult. It was a long time ago. Let's just go down the line here.
Yep. My name is Peter Tom Wolverton. You may have seen me online as Scintilla, one half of Aquiline Studios. I have been making AMVs since 2003, and I have been leading the AMV department here at AnimeNEXT since 2012.
Good stuff, Peter. My name is Mary Labrie. I also ran the AMV contest with Mike during our college years. I've been making AMV since 1998 using the 2 VCR method. And you might also know me online as the owner of Temple of Trunks, which is a big Dragon Ball fan site back in the 90s and early 2000s. Katie, over to you.
Okay, and I am Katie Tom Wolverton. I am the wife of Peter.
We're all married.
We're not together, but you know, we were at each other's weddings.
Very different.
So, I was co-head with Peter when we first took over the department. I lasted about 3 years before I became the karaoke head, which is now where I live. But I have assisted behind the scenes ever since, like with judging and moving stuff around and answering questions.
We got a ton of cool stuff for you. So we are going to go all the way back literally to the beginning of AnimeNEXT in 2002, from the AMV contest there all the way to the present day. We're going to share stories about what it was like to run a contest that long ago, all the way in today. Share some stories, share some of the best videos from over the years, share why some of the videos won, why they didn't win. It's amazing. Let me take you back. I was there, AnimeNEXT 2002, the first convention of this convention, 7:30 p.m. over in Secaucus. That's how you're supposed to pronounce it, right? I believe it's Secaucus as opposed to Secaucus.
Yep.
People are very particular about that. There were 8 videos in the AMV contest in 2002. There were 6 that were organized into a drama category and 2 other videos that they played that they got. It was an amazing contest because the dude that was in charge of the contest sat there, popped in the tape, played the video, pressed eject, took out the tape.
Did you just use the word tape?
Tape.
Okay.
Put in the next tape, played the next video. And that was the AMV contest, AnimeNEXT 2002. It was something to behold.
You had to be there.
You had to be there. God, that was over 20 years ago. We are extremely fortunate that we have a master quality copy of the video that won the first AnimeNEXT AMV contest in 2002. It won the drama category. We're going to play that video for you right now.
Did you find such an amazing quality version of that video after all this time?
Yeah, so does anyone know the story behind the video that won the first AnimeNEXT AMV contest? Would the folks in the room who made that video please raise their hands? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Hey, thanks. Funny story. So we went to the AMV contest. We went home, posted on amv.org that day, said, here's all the videos that played. This is how the contest went. The the con feedback panel, a session.
Session, yeah.
Took place at the end. They're taking questions. And me, as a punk 20-year-old kid at the time, raised my hand and said, "Hi, I would like to run your AMV contest next year, because popping in one tape after another seems a little ridiculous." And so, amazingly enough, they didn't say, "What are you talking about? Get out of here." They said, "Yeah, we wanted to talk to you. Could you do that, please? That would be amazing." I don't know how that actually happened, but it did.
That sounds accurate. That tracks.
Does that track? Yeah.
You sound pretty
I have
credible to
stories
me.
in my head. I don't know if they actually happened. So we took over the AMV contest for the next several years.
We were still in college back then.
We were still
here
in
at
college.
Rutgers, so
Yeah.
we're local. We're super
Yeah,
local.
literally down the street here. And I worked over on Church Street for many years. Like, this is literally my second home over in this area here. So we ran the contest from 2003 to 2008 after winning the first contest. They played a bunch more videos that first year. The contest coordinator just had a bunch of extra videos, and they just played more to fill up time. But that was AnimeNEXT 2002 into 2003, so we took over from there. And I really wanted to upgrade the convention and what we were doing. And we did a lot of stuff.
A lot of marketing, too.
A lot of marketing.
Technical upgrading, too, right?
Technical SEO that first year, I think it was. We did a bunch of extra stuff. So instead of playing individual videos off of individual tapes, I will say, our entry was the only one on SVHS that first year.
Who
Yeah,
on earth owns
double
it?
hands in the air right there. The one person. we wanted it to be a legitimate, amazing experience for all the attendees. So we did a bunch of stuff. So we mastered the contest on SVHS. So SVHS is a super VHS, an enhanced version of VHS. DVDs was still a little bit too advanced for us at that point in 2003. We
It
had
was
a friend.
too expensive for college kids, let's be real.
It was. We had no money.
Yeah.
But
we
had a
leached off
friend.
of our friend.
Yes.
Who had an SVHS.
SVHS deck, and he had an MJPEG motion JPEG capture system. So we took all the entries that year. We had 20 finalists that year. I unfortunately don't have the total number of entries that we got that first year. There's probably some spreadsheet hidden on a floppy disk, maybe, that has that information. But we got 20 finalists. We had 8 in drama, 5 in action, 7 in comedy. We had a 3-category second year at AnimeNEXT. We screened it 4 times that weekend. And the contest winners were played, I believe this was the first time we did this, during the Cosplay Masquerade deliberation. We played the AMV winners, which
Because
I know...
let's be real, you got to be where the people are.
Exactly. You got to be where people are, and you got to fill time because they're doing stuff. So what can we do in the meantime? Play AMV. So we did that. It was incredible. It was the kickoff to a multi-year process of us doing this, and we had amazing entries. I feel a little bad about 2003.
Why?
Because that was the year that we took over, and we said, "Hey, friends, can you send to this convention in New Jersey?"
Can confirm.
Nope.
Hi, friend. Peter. Would you like to submit to
That
our
isn't
contest?
getting any entries, and can we flesh out this contest a little bit? And so we got entries from all over the country, and we really tried over the years to make it a little more New Jersey centric. We didn't appeal to, "Hey, Canada, could you send some stuff to us?" But it was an amazing first year. We really kicked off a lot of great stuff, and I think we want to move on to a couple years later. I want to play a sample video from 2005. This was the winner of our comedy category that year. It had 77% of the votes in that
Total.
in that category that year. It was the clear winner. This was by Mike Zubreski, I believe, isn't he?
So shaky or something like that?
I'm going to trust Peter because, again, he's younger than I am. He knows more things. The brain cells are still going there.
Polish names are difficult. I once tried to learn Polish on Duolingo, and after the first unit just ran away screaming. I can't wrap my head around it.
Roll Real Ninjas. 77% of the votes in 2005, the clear comedy winner. It was a really interesting time. I just double fact-checked this. AMV Hell came out in 2004.
Ooh.
And don't I know it?
Yeah, so this was the time that comedy videos changed from a singular concept, this is the thing, it's a funny song or it's a funny concept, to multi-part, like I'm telling a story over the course of this segmented thing like Real Ninjas just here was.
Telling a story, if you were lucky, some of the times it was just totally random collection of video shorts that they just couldn't flesh out into full-length videos.
Yep. That was 2005. So
I think it holds up.
I think it does.
Yeah.
I've watched it a few times over the last few days as we were prepping for the panel. The first time I was like, oh yeah, that's 2005 right there. And then the second time I was like, I can get into this. This is cool. And then at the end it's like, just literally the words, episode 3. Like, that was of the time right there, for sure, 2005. So we did a lot of stuff over the years here. Want to share just a couple stats from the time that we ran the contest here. Again, unfortunately, I don't have the exact number of total entries that we got, but just considering from the first year in 2002 where we had 8 videos total that were submitted. They played everything they got. That was 8 videos. We had 20, 25, 31, and they kind of hovered a little under 31. And I have some more stories that we can probably go back to. We're going to judge time as we go here with the videos we play and the stories we share. But I did want to mention a couple trends and changes over the years. We introduced the Judges Award, the singular judges, or maybe plural judges, because there were 2 of us.
That's right.
Over time. We changed it every year. We introduced that as a way to acknowledge the video that we felt from maybe a technical perspective or an artistic perspective that didn't necessarily win its category.
Right.
But as editors ourselves, we got this video and we said, this video needs to be seen. It needs to be played again at the award ceremony. And we wanted to give it that attention. Opening trailers. We did this for a few years. Trailers were huge.
Absolutely. They were a category onto itself at larger cons, like Otakon. I mean, they had enough entries that had an entire trailer category. So we thought, how do we make this local?
Yeah.
And give it our own spin on it. So we used it as a way to just make it the intro to AnimeNEXT.
We did it
contest.
as the intro to the contest itself. It was non-competing for a couple of years there, 2003 and 2004. We just asked friends, hey, if you've made a cool trailer, we'd love to get that. That's kind of like the warm-up act to the contest to play to get the audience
stage
ready. And then we ended up getting enough and people were interested in this that we made it a competing category there in 2005. And contest intros, which I think is where we're going to go next. We were always very jealous of our friends at Otakon. Jeff in particular there, who did ELO and
Twilight
and zoomed in on Baltimore and did an amazing contest introduction for the Otakon AMV contest. It was like, we can do that too.
Sort of. Maybe. So just to set the stage here a little bit, think about where maybe you were at in 2007 and what series might have been big in 2007. What was everyone talking about in 2007? Maybe we got to do something with this one big show that everyone's talking about.
It was just too much to keep working on that, so we just killed it there.
It was really gratuitous, though. We were pushing our tech to the max at that point. It's like, how do I make an AMV without making an AMV? Oh, I know. I can make it like the contest intro to AnimeNEXT and make it a Death Note because that's what the kids like. It was good.
That year in 2007, do you remember the venue in 2007?
The venue? We weren't in Secaucus back then?
I don't know where it was. It was the giant hangar, open air. There were no rooms.
They didn't have to shuttle you between 2 locations.
The Meadowlands Expo Center, one big concrete box with some hotels in within walking distance.
So we played that intro, and then we got some feedback like, can you turn the volume down? And we're like,
we did? Seriously?
No, we cannot turn the volume down on the AMV contest. It was interrupting all the panels, all the guest signings.
It was only 30 seconds long. Man.
Yeah, they didn't like that at all.
Oh.
Well, then it was another 2 hours of actual AMVs, but that kind of like kicked off the contest that year.
I just remember slaving over that thing almost frame by frame.
Yeah, consider the technology of the era. It's amazing that we made that at that time. That was incredible.
Copious amounts of free time.
So there's a couple more stories. 2007, we finished running the AMV contest in 2008. I want to share a couple stories about what we did, what we received as feedback before we said, peace, we're done with this. One that always
I remember this to this day.
This young lady, bless her heart, sent in AMV to Avatar: The Last Airbender. And maybe she's in the audience today. I'm not entirely sure. That would be amazing. It was disqualified because Avatar: The Last Airbender is not, in fact, anime. It is, yes, animated overseas. There's a lot of breakdown and distinction you can make. A lot of anime conventions are actual true 501c3 nonprofit organizations. They have bylaws that they must adhere to.
We have legal counsel you have to deal with.
Even little things like what shows are used in the AMV contest must adhere to these guidelines of what is actually anime. And unfortunately, we had to disqualify that video because it wasn't anime. God bless her heart. She found me on the floor of that convention that year, and she said, "Excuse me, Avatar is an honorary anime." That was a tough conversation. I'm really, really sorry. It was a cool video.
And we freaking love Avatar, too.
We legally sort of can't play your video. It's a tough conversation, but it's one of those things that you don't realize might happen as you're running that kind of contest. The phrase honorary anime has stuck with me over these last nearly 20 years. I want to talk about video cards. Maybe you get a 4090, that's amazing. I don't have a 3070 Ti. You want to switch, that'd be amazing. I would love that. We had video cards that were MPEG-2 specific, like hardware cards that would play the videos. I don't even know the proper technical language to describe it, but my computer crashed while playing these videos. And this video card was like, nah, dog, I got you. And I just kept playing this playlist because that's what those video cards did. And there were a couple different kinds of cards. There was the baseline, the Hollywood card, which played the MPEG-2 videos. It was great. And then there was the NetStream card. Problem with the Hollywood card was that it reset the video signal in between every video it played.
That would be problematic, right? With trying to give credit where credit is due.
Say you're playing the winners at the cosplay awards and you run down with your computer. You're also running down with a CRT. You're holding it in your arms. You're running down from the hotel. It was a terrible time. What we'd like to do was acknowledge what the runner-up was that year. Problem was the Hollywood card would reset in between every video it played, and it would take like 3 or 4 seconds to catch up in a 5-second video that announced what the runner-up was. So it was like, that was the runner-up. Did you miss it? Well, here's the winner. And so people thought they won the contest when it was actually announcing what the runner-up was.
Oh, it's soul crushing.
I felt real bad about that. And so we upgraded to the NetStream card, which didn't reset the video signal in between each video. Peter, this is probably a story that you can chime in on as well, was eventually we upgraded from mastering the contest to SVHS to DVDs. For those of you who are old enough to remember burning DVDs, you had plus R's and you had minus R's. And sometimes your player wouldn't play one of the two. So we mastered the contest on both formats. So we would be sure to know, like when we arrived, hey, what player do you have? Let's test it out before we actually play back the contest.
And in my case, it got even worse than that because I swear there was one time when like this player was supposed to handle DVD minus R's.
They told me it would play.
But apparently it just didn't like Sony branded DVD minus R's. Yeah.
My favorite part of running the AMV contest at AnimeNEXT was from the literal beginning in 2003, showing up and saying, hey, can I run your contest? Was, I think technically I had a boss. I don't know.
Did you?
Because I never went to a single meeting. I'm sorry, AnimeNEXT staff who might show up. We never went to a single convention meeting or staff
That's what you get for being too darn competent, sir.
That is like quintessential Mike right there. We just showed up every year. This angry guy dragged his computer downstairs to the cosplay contest and played the winners and disappeared for a year.
Never to be seen again.
Well, never to be seen again after 2008.
What happened in 2008 that made us stop doing videos?
I proposed to this chick over here. Anyway,
So we got married, and then I don't know, life got in the way, and we're like, we need to pass the baton.
we were buying a house. It was the whole thing. The economy crashed. Y'all remember?
2008 was a rough year,
2008,
y'all.
2009. That was the time. I just continue to think back to how did they let us do this? Was it just that no one had my email address to tell me no? Did please stop? Don't show up again next year?
I mean, we ran a contest, didn't we? So
Yeah,
there was
it
content.
happened every year. It was amazing. I loved it. I have such fond memories of playing the contest. We had this little shuttle computer that we eventually threw that NetStream card in, and we would run downstairs to the cosplay awards and play the winners. And it was just such an amazing time. And it just kind of coalesced all together with, we were getting married, we're buying a house. I don't want to say we were falling out of the AMV scene, but we were kind of making the last videos that we would do kind of contemporary with that time frame. It was just, we got to stop. We got other stuff going on in our lives. We had a good run. It would be important to kind of pass this along to folks who
We're still active, let's just say.
could give it the time and the attention it would need. We're not quite to these folks right here yet, though.
Oh.
AnimeNEXT transitioned. Anyone here remember Rye, New York?
Right,
Yeah,
New York.
buddy.
Yes.
That was a year. I think that was 2004. Then we came back.
No, it wasn't 2004. That was Meadowlands Crown Plaza because I was there for that.
Okay, so it was 2005?
I thought it was 03.
Three.
Was 3 the first year? That was a long time ago, y'all. AnimeNEXT had some transitions. So not just where the location was, but also the contest coordinators. So we were done. There was a new coordinator from 2009 to 2011, I think it was.
That's right.
And there was just a lot going on. Whether it was playing off the NetStream cards, no one was certainly using SVHS anymore. This is the actual master of the 2005 AMV contest, so if anyone wants to mug me after this panel, you can. I have a copy, so it's not the only one. There were challenges of the era, and then it kind of transitioned to these folks over here who were submitting to the contest the entire time.
Yes.
Yeah, I actually do want to add some words about the interregnum there, the coordinators before us. So it was a guy named Tommy Callahan. You may have seen him online as Religion X, and he took over in 2009. And that was also the first year that the convention was at the Garden State Exhibit Center in Somerset. And since we still get questions every year about why we can't go back to Somerset, let me just point out the GSEC was sold years ago and is now a warehouse.
That's so sad.
As a matter of fact, the hotels along Davidson Avenue are beginning to close because they don't have that business
They
anymore.
needed us. all
Pretty
along.
much, yeah. Pour one out for the Red Dock. But, okay, so 2011, Tommy Callahan knew that was going to be his last year as coordinator because I believe that was also the year that he was going to get married. So
I see a trend here.
Just
Get married, please.
contest.
We were already married, so
So yeah, he knew he was going to be handing off the contest. I had actually, not knowing this, contacted him before the convention to ask, hey, so if I was interested in running an AMV contest at AnimeNEXT or some other con, what would be the steps to take to, who would I contact? And he sent me back a very well-written reply, very detailed. That was our first real contact in that capacity. So the 2011 convention was a little challenging on the AMV front. At some point during the preparation cycle, the leadership of scheduling changed hands. And I guess there was a bit of a communication gap. So when the schedule was released, about a week and a half before the con, we noticed something was missing. The AMV contest. And Callahan was livid. He got in touch with, the emails, the PMs, I'm sure, were flying about this. Eventually, they managed to squeeze it in to, 5 different slots throughout Friday and Saturday, but of course they were in the rooms that no one else was using at the time. So like, Katie and I attended one of them. The room could not have held more than 50 people. And because Tommy was playing all of this off of his desktop computer that he was lugging around the con in a suitcase with a handle and roller wheels.
Wait, he had a suitcase?
He had a suitcase, yeah.
That's amazing.
And because the convention was so spread out with stuff happening in the GSEC and the DoubleTree and in the like 500 office building across Atrium Way.
I think they all know that like different locations. Yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah, I think that was the farthest we've ever had to walk for anything at the GSEC. They didn't use that building after that year. It was, yeah. I think he was glad to be done with it after the mess that was that year. So on Sunday, we met up with him and he introduced us to Bob Ruste, the part-time Viking who was our con chair at the time, and gave us his personal recommendation. And Bob, knowing just how badly the ball had been dropped that year, made sure for the rest of his time as con chair that we, as the new AMV leadership, were getting what we wanted and needed. And I very much appreciated that. Got off to a really good start.
I do want to point out, like, you guys literally have been contributing to the contest since 2003?
I was going to say, yeah, you reached out to me in 2003. I sent in that Super Freak video that you awarded Judge's Choice. Thank you. And then in 2004, I was hoping you'd mention this. 2004, I was actually able to attend the con, and it was the first time that I have ever attended a con where I won in the AMV contest. That was when I had Ava Bebop.
Trend here, yeah. It was Ava Bebop won the comedy award that year. It was a recreation of the Bebop opening with like cutouts from Ava.
It was gorgeous.
It was amazing for the time, but even today. So what I've loved is that AnimeNEXT has really kind of like been in the family.
Homegrown.
Since the beginning. We live in New Jersey. We are New Jersey folks. Mary and I here went to Rutgers. Like, this is our home.
I went to TCNJ.
We love it.
Represent.
So y'all arrived, and so by the way, I actually have some of these program guides here too. If anyone wants to look at old stuff, 2012, another changing of the guard. Y'all show up and you just ran with it.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I know I can be a little bit verbose. I was probably driving people crazy with all the emails I was sending. I don't think they were used to it, but like I knew
they never heard from me. That's for sure.
Because I had seen
more
enough.
than makes up for it.
I mean, at that point, having been in the AMV scene for like 9 years, going to conventions, seeing how contests happen, I knew enough of what I wanted to have happen to have like exactly what I needed from AV Tech, wrote it all out in long email, tell them exactly when we're going to be where, and say, this is the setup we need, these are the seats we need, blah, blah, blah. And it's been like that pretty much every year.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I don't remember. How did we get ballots? I don't know. They just magically appeared. How did the contest happen? I don't know. It just magically appeared. But y'all showed up and you said, look, this is how, what is this? Is this the AnimeNEXT 2006 Anime Music Video Contest ballot? I haven't seen this.
You said you didn't know where they came from. I thought I should bring it.
2006. This is incredible. Did I make this?
I think I made that.
I think Mary made this.
Let me see
I
that.
love it. Yeah. Look at that. Who knows?
Show them too.
But Peter and Katie showed up and said, "This look,
Check boxes.
we have to actually make this a real this is a real convention. We've been going for a while now.
I remember
10 years. Real contest, real communication. Let's go."
Yep. And one of the things that I wanted to do when I took over the contest was continue the trend of the custom intro videos. The first year I made one that was heavily inspired by Disney's Main Street Electrical Parade, and basically nobody got the joke. So in 2013, I got out my copy of FL Studio and my microphones that are more expensive than I can justify, and recorded something I think a little closer to the geekdom mainstream that I was able to just iterate with only minor tweaks every year after that, which was a theme with me, as you'll see on the future slides. So this is the one from 2017.
Oh, that shine at the end. I love it.
And thanks to Katie for providing the la la las.
I love it. I love it. And you made it your own. That's the thing that I love the most was, contest intros were a thing, but you said, look, we have our own idea about what we want to do, and you made it you and local and appropriate. It's so good.
And if you're wondering why that didn't return this year, not only does my copy of Premiere no longer work with recent Windows upgrades, but also 2023 wouldn't really scan with the last line anyway. So,
Peter, are you running like Premiere 6.5? What's going on over here?
Premiere Pro 2.0.
Oh my God, come on, dude.
I think we have Premiere Pro CS3 somewhere around the house, right?
Incredible. So what I love here is that you have, because it's more recent, you have the actual number of entries that you got. I wish I could dig up this info.
Right, because right from the beginning, I knew I wanted to automate as much as possible.
Yeah.
So I got set up with, I knew I was going to throw everything into a database that I'd be able to run queries off of, be able to, like, I created the pre-screening ballots off of that. I created the contest ballots off of that, the playlist for the non-finalists, all of that. So that's why it didn't take too long to find all these stats. As you can see, there's some ebbs and flows here. For the first few years, we were, how were we even, I know we were taking snail mail entries, but we never got very many of those.
I was going to say, so for our earliest years, we still required that people actually sent us in the physical mail to our apartment their actual entries, whether it be on VHS, SVHS, DVD, CD, like your uncompressed AVI files. We took all that stuff. At some point, a couple of years later, I think we took maybe like links or something. But you started with accepting snail mail and links and FTP at some point.
I actually don't think we did accept links at the
earliest?
beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, we got a PO box for physical entries, and we only ever got like one a year until we shut that down. But like for a long time, the way you'd enter was like you'd send me an email, and I'd set up an FTP on my web server for you, and you'd upload, and that was the way for about 3 years. And then in 2015, I thought, okay, we've got to figure out a better way to do this. So I taught myself enough PHP to code a web page where there's an actual automatic entry form, and people get to step 4 or so, and they can upload their files directly.
Peter, back in my day, we put up our mailing address online. You could just come to
Like
our
a bunch of
apartment,
suckers.
just show
Here's
up.
my name
Here's
and
your
mailing
entry.
address.
Well, that's
Please
why we got the
dox
PO
me.
box. I don't want to. I don't want to out myself like that. So yeah, so that's why 2015 saw such a huge bump in.
It's huge, yeah.
Yeah. In fact, it was so much that I should point out that our contest deadline is usually around late April to give us enough time to prepare everything for the con in June. But at around the same time, every year, I was also sitting for a big, scary actuarial exam. If you've never heard of the actuarial exams, they are a professional exam battery that is, I believe, considered even more difficult than the CPA exams. And they took up way too many years of my life. I'm so glad to finally be done with them as of last year. I earned my letters finally. But yeah, I was studying for these 5-hour sit-down exams that had ridiculously long syllabi right around like, I think it would be like a week before the pre-screening every year. And we didn't have a very big house. We couldn't justify putting anybody up overnight. So like when it got to 2017, we're over 120 entries. I thought, all right, we can't keep doing this. We got to make a change. So in 2018, that's when we finally said, you can't send us 2 videos regardless of category anymore. 1 video, fine. The second video, only if it's in one of these categories, like fun or horror or upbeat or comedy, the ones that we always want to see more entries in.
Okay. Actually, just to clarify, because I heard you say we couldn't put anyone up for the night. You didn't say what that was. We're referring to the contest pre-screening.
Well, that's exactly what I want to ask about. I know we have another video we want to showcase from, it looks like 2016, but let's talk a little inside baseball about, all right, we get 100 videos. The heck do we do with that at that point?
Because at the con, you only show 2 hours worth of content, which is roughly 30-ish videos.
Somewhere between 30 and 37.
Right.
I think what we all kind of landed on was that as editors ourselves, and we had an expanded group of friends who were whether they were established editors themselves
Or super fans.
super fans or ran other contests, we would all kind of like get together and help each other's pre-screenings, which was we all get together and rank them on some kind of scale, whether it's -2 to +2 or 0 to 5, something like that.
That seems needlessly complicated.
There's data statistical stuff
Yeah,
in there. I'm not the statistical.
Talk to this guy. He's got the
I heard a
letters.
guy who knows that
God.
kind of stuff before. And we would get together and we would figure out like, all right, what's the best 2 hours of videos that we got? That's it. So it would be a little bit of blind, but not so blind. Like as a coordinator, you would get everything, so you would know everything. But all the folks that would show up wouldn't necessarily know everything. Some contests would do different things where maybe they would show you the name or the anime or something beforehand. I think for the most part, we just played the video and said, rank it, and we'll do the math later, and we'll figure out 2 hours.
Yeah, I mean, and so we were, with the number of entries we were getting, it was taking us like over 6 hours at the worst to get through everything. And I mean, and that's not even that bad when you consider there are some places like Anime Weekend Atlanta where everything is judged. So they have to get all of their judges together to like, I think, just argue and deliberate for 2 days to figure out who's going to get what.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what we meant when we said pre-screening. But one more thing before we move on from this slide that I wanted to mention. And this was, as far as I know, unique at the time. I'm not sure if any other conventions have done this since, but this was a change I had wanted to see. When we took over starting in 2012, we moved away from having set categories that you could submit to.
Yeah.
That's always been a thing.
Like you adapted to what kind of entries you got and then made the categories around that?
Basically, yeah. So we've
Okay.
always asked that everybody who enters check off like between 2 and 4 boxes of elements present in their video, be that like character profile or action or drama, because, Katie, go
I was
ahead.
going to say this might have been my brainchild, because there were a couple of contests that we would go to. Because we would pre-screen. Actually, I'm not going to name drop. Where it would bother me personally to see someone submit something to romance, and then because it had a few chuckly moments, to see this romantic comedy video then get moved into comedy because
Yeah, they
it made
lip sync
people
for 2
laugh.
seconds. It's funny.
Yes, it's funny. And then this really good romance video just
Shot itself in the foot by being in comedy.
by being in comedy. It
You're
doesn't do
thinking of
itself
Jub Jub 2's video, right?
maybe, but it's been. I've had a video like deal with that too, like So it just bothers me, and I wanted to see the contest be where every video was in a category that the creator was okay with it being in.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And that was kind of the birth of the flexible categories.
So yeah, that's why we never know exactly which categories we're going to get until we actually have selected the finalists. The one exception to that, I refuse to run a contest that has no comedy category because I know that if I do, I'm going to have a riot on my hands.
It's like we need laughs.
I took a bunch of notes while I was going back through old contest stuff, and I saw that it was 2008. That was the first year that we split off the romance category, actually specifically from drama.
Oh, right.
So kind of we started that.
We had enough content to justify there being a
justify it,
romance.
for sure.
Right.
Wasn't 2008 the year I sent in that Loveless video to Romance?
Sure.
You should have heard the fangirl scream.
I remember that, though. It's like he won. He won right there. You got fangirls squealing. It's cool.
We got something a little more recent. 2016 feels like yesterday to me, that's for sure.
Okay, so 2016 was our first year in Atlantic City, and I will never forget the fun and upbeat category we had that year. It was so stacked that this video you're about to see by the inimitable Shin Scully, which was the first video that my judging panel ever awarded a unanimous 5 out of 5, somehow did not win its category.
What?
And in fact, you know what won? Was by Glitzer, Singular Strike Gentleman.
Which was still really good.
One Piece Man with One Punch Man.
One Piece Man.
I love that
show.
though. Make it happen.
Oh God. It was One Punch Man with Don't Stop Me Now. And the even more remarkable thing is Just Funkin' Dandy here only beat the third place video by 6 votes.
Wow.
Yeah, the third place video was by Eric Hecker. It was Put Your Hands Up, the clap along video with Flyers by Bradio. The Death Parade opening? Everybody, that one. This category was so stacked that 4th place was Celia Phantom Hive's Volleybot. The one where the robot from Space Dandy becomes the main character of Haikyuu. It was
Really good.
an amazing concept, superbly executed, and at any other contest it would have won, but this was just a perfect storm that year.
This is why Judges Award exists.
Right.
Exactly.
Perfect.
To acknowledge the standouts.
Did not win its category.
How?
You just never know with audience contests. That's what I've come to realize.
Yeah.
Every audience is different.
Can I ruin the lyrics to that song for everyone? The one part where it says, retire. Like a Dragon Ball in retirement. You will never
Dragon Ball
unhear
in
that.
retirement.
Every time.
Yep.
That's me every time.
I'm not the only one.
All right. So another thing that happened in our tenure was, so what I didn't mention was when we took over AMVs in 2012 here, that was our first time ever staffing at any anime convention. AnimeNEXT has always been our home con, and we wanted to, give back to the community. So, but as time went on and we, got our feet under ourselves and we realized we have the ability and the confidence to do this contest, we started wanting to expand the programming. We wanted to move beyond just the AMV contest to a full-on AMV track. So it started small. In 2015, on that Sunday, as the last event in whatever panel room it was, we had our first annual AMV sing-along. The room was packed. The crowd was amazing. I think there was a line outside that couldn't get in. And I said, okay, yes, I'm bringing this back in the future. That was also the year that Katie here graduated out of AMVs and into her own department of karaoke.
Yep. Became an actual head.
Where you can still find her to this day.
Yes.
Upstairs in Salon A and B, running until 1 a.m. tonight.
Yes, I escaped for this panel.
So then, of course, in 2016, there was the move out of Somerset to Atlantic City, which meant that you no longer had to cross a very, very scary sidewalk bridge over an interstate highway just to get to the karaoke room. It was very nice to finally have everything we wanted just under one roof, but it was a much longer drive. So it has its own challenges, its own, that bit on the bottom, that photo there, that is actually from the Atlantic City Convention Center atrium, the one year that we tried branching out beyond our designated departments and doing a little line entertainment, if you will. And to this
Everyone in
day,
that little group is staff.
and to this day, Lou keeps asking me, when are we getting the band back together?
I'll play drums. I'm ready.
Oh, God. And then
Dave's here.
Hi, Dave. I continued to slowly expand the programming. In 2018, where I had my first block of what I like to call dance under the AMVs. I'd seen this at a few other conventions, get a whole bunch of very, very danceable AMVs together, get some VJing software so you can make transitions, throw it up on the big screen, clear out the chairs, bring some glow sticks, and have ourselves a party. That top photo there was from the 2019 edition of that dance. I couldn't bring that back this year because of head count not being where we needed it to be, but I really hope to run that again in future years because I got a lot of feedback saying that was the highlight of the con for a lot of people. And some people, people heard about this after the fact. They didn't even know that there was another dance party to go to on Saturday night.
I would go to that. That's
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the crowd was small but very, very enthusiastic.
Small but mighty.
Yes.
And so it all culminated in 2019 when, for whatever reason, the higher-ups had enough faith in me to give us a dedicated AMV theater, our very own room. As you can see, that carried over into this year. We still have the banner outside. And once we get back into the swing of things, once we have a year where half of my staff aren't in another state missing the con, we can fill that programming out more with dedicated blocks just like we had in the past. Whew. So,
we got more videos to play, but I want to hear stories and challenges is just like the phrase of the day here. So, Peter, in the earliest days, we moved from SVHS to mastering on DVD to playing the winners, like I mentioned, through the Hollywood cards and Netstream cards. What was the technical reality for you?
okay, so for us, we never had any dedicated MPEG playback cards. We ended up, like at that time when we took over, I thought we should go with DVDs. They're proven technology. You can get a DVD player anywhere in case of emergency.
Yeah.
And what I soon discovered was that not only burning the DVDs, but also making sure we had DVDs that would play on any player was a bit more trouble than it was worth. I noticed on a previous slide you mentioned dual layer DVDs.
I'm looking at a plus RDL right here. Yeah, so a dual layer
DL
DVD.
too. I forgot
The
about
dual
that.
layer. We got double the space. So the thing I didn't realize as I was mastering the contest at that time was when there's a layer switch in the DVD, there's actually like literally 2 layers of grooves in the DVD there. And when it switched to that second layer, there was like a millisecond or 100 or 200 of delay when it would switch to that.
Would that mess up somebody's video?
Yeah, I messed up someone's video every year, and I felt really bad about that.
That stings.
Yeah.
Which was one reason I never bothered with dual layer videos.
Yeah, because he came to the
Just-
contest and he said, that guy doesn't know what he's doing.
But as a result, that meant that I had to put each contest on 2 DVDs instead of
Yeah.
just 1.
Yeah.
So I had to come up with eye catches every year. So that's why we stopped doing that after 2014, and I moved to a much more portable solution. The Jinx box, I forget exactly which one, like M4 or something, billed itself as the world's smallest Android dual-core media player box. And it certainly was portable. You could only operate it with a dedicated remote that took AAA batteries. But it did play pretty much anything you threw at it as long as you avoided really exotic codecs and as long as you didn't go crazy with the bitrate. I had to review like every single video and actually keep my eye on the video the entire time to make sure that certain parts of it weren't jacking up the action enough to make it stutter. Because if I did, I had to re-encode the entire thing just so it would play.
Well, people are probably wondering, like, just bring a laptop and use VLC and just, like, play the contest. What's the problem? Like, that wasn't the technical reality of the day. It just wouldn't, VLC didn't exist in that capacity at that point. But you couldn't guarantee, like, Windows wasn't cooperating at that time. You would get your updates and it would just, like, restart in the middle of a contest. Like, we've seen that happen.
Yeah, so now in 2023, we have finally gotten to the point, actually no, 2019 was when we finally were able to get to a purpose-built dedicated Windows PC and feel confident enough about it. My contest coordinator, Bill, who again had to miss the con, has been a huge help in putting together the tech for all that. The microcomputer that we're playing this whole thing off of was assembled by him and set up, and the updates are frozen, and he overnighted it to me from Florida.
Wow.
And that's why we mastered on SVHS back in the day. It was like, if the deck eats the tape, like, yeah, that's on us at that point. Like, this should just work. And I know a lot of contests would do a thing where they would play it off of the Netstream cards and have an S-deck running in the background timed to the exact point where it could fall back if it was necessary. Tech just wasn't the same back then. I'm realizing my age as I say this.
It's okay, we still love you.
Thanks.
So yeah, automating everything is a theme I touched on a little earlier. What I didn't mention was that the combination of a database, it started out as just Microsoft Access, but then when I built the uploader, I had to create a database on the web server that was capable of taking the MP form. So that was MySQL, but it turns out you can still use Access as a front end for MySQL. So all the code I had already written to automate the pre-screening and the ballots and the title cards, did I mention that it's possible to write text scripts with all the information that you need to create a title card and then just batch encode the whole lot of them to MP4.
Wow.
I had to the point where I could just
How
like,
nice that is. I did that all manually in Photoshop.
I could just like click a few buttons and have all of those run off all at once and then moved onto like the SD card that I was going to use to transport them into the Jinx box or over to the laptop. That was the backup plan.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that people don't think about. Like, yeah, there's an intro to the contest, but every video has its own unique title card saying who the artist is, what the anime is. Like, all this stuff doesn't just magically appear out of nowhere. There's someone sitting in the background either manually making that or is advanced enough just doing some cool SQL stuff.
Yeah, that was like all the SQL and the Visual Basic that I learned, that I built all of that off of. That was like the first time I had to learn something at work that ended up really, really coming in handy in my personal life. So, yeah.
But if you're doing your job right, then no one notices, and that's the best part.
Exactly, yeah. And that level of automation is how I was able to keep my sanity doing all of this and studying for the actuarial exams at the same time.
I know we have another video we want to show, but you want to mention ballots and turnout growth here as well.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so the year 2011, the last year before we took over, as I mentioned, there were challenges there. The ballot count was kind of on the low side.
I wish I had the numbers from the earliest years. I did dig up at one point. I think we had 200 ballots for one of our earliest years, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it felt like a lot at the time.
Yeah, no, in 2011, it was definitely down to double digits. And how do I know this? Because I have the 2011 ballot that Tommy Callahan was using to tally up the votes and determine the winners.
That's less than 3 digits, isn't it?
I don't know why, but he gave that to me at the end of the con. I guess he wasn't as much of a pack rat as we are.
Oh, God. So, Mary, do you remember when we were doing the ballots? I feel like I was sitting in front of a spreadsheet, and I would just have people, like...
Say numbers at you.
Say numbers at me, and I would just keep, like, increasing the number. 7,
15,
9,
29. Go. We had like 5 people packed in a hotel room counting the ballots.
Yeah.
my
I hope
God.
we compensated them with pizza or something.
Try to not have a conflict of interest. Like, are you not in the contest? Get upstairs. Let's go.
Oh my God. Yeah, so that was where we came from in 2011. And by the time we got to Atlantic City, we were very consistently pulling over 400 ballots a year.
It's amazing.
You know what would be pretty dope in the future? Like voting by QR code or something more automated?
Someone suggests a digital voting system every single year.
Hack your system.
And we did talk about it again this year, and we couldn't figure out a satisfactory way to make it work yet without, with reasonable safeguards to prevent voter fraud.
I want a number 2 pencil. Let's go.
That's the big thing. Oh, we've still got like almost 1,000 golf pencils.
Give me that
in ops.
Scantron.
But yeah, that sort of growth would not be possible without the support of all of you fans for everything we
Please
do here in
vote.
AMV, so.
We got some more stories and some sample videos to play. Like, your votes are so important.
Yeah. So speaking of, one more thing. We had a bit of a difficulty in 2016 when, because Katie Karaoke, me and AMVs, we're going to be joined at the hip.
We like each other.
You're married.
Yeah. So
We like each other.
But the problem is that this extended to the first year we were there, putting certain AMV events in karaoke, such as the awards show and the sing-along, which meant that the karaoke room all of a sudden needed a screen and needed to break down, to stop taking open mic signups every time we were going to have an event, and then having to restart, and it completely destroyed the flow.
Yeah, the one thing I didn't expect, our first year in Atlantic City was my second year as the karaoke head. And it was my first year with staff. It was the first time we did all day karaoke, started in the morning, ended after midnight. And so really what I didn't expect was that open mic, people actually like it. And we can have queues pretty consistently of over 45 minutes long. So when it comes time, it's, kind of the afternoon, things are picking up, people are looking for something to do. it's like the theater kids have come out to play, so the playlist is really good. And then you got to stomp the brakes because we got to show the AMV stuff.
Peter's got to play his little videos
It's
now.
like, we have to stop now.
Because Masquerade didn't want us anymore. That was the thing. They said, "Oh, we can fill the time by ourselves now." But
excuse me.
But it turns out though that even after they kicked us out of the Masquerade, they still had people leaving after the last act anyway.
Yeah, of course.
It's a good learning experience.
Can I come sing Head Chala?
You can sing
All right.
Head Shalom.
I'm there.
Might have to wait for a while though.
All right.
You might have to wait for a while, though. So, yeah, I mean, it's just the whole, like, having to put on the brakes, build things up again, like, taking down the screen with the tech, and it was just not, the flow for us, it didn't work well at all, so.
And we told them this many times and loudly times. And so when the first draft map of all of the rooms for 2017 came out, imagine the fit that I had when I saw room 401 karaoke/AMVs. No.
Like, we like each other, but.
But even we need time apart sometimes.
Yeah, we need some time for something.
2019.
Yes. Okay. So another one from the fun upbeat category. That was not intentional. So coordinator's choice that year came down to this and one other. The other in question was Kingdom Parks, which was kind of uniquely appealing to us because of how big fans we are of Disney, but not just Disney, but also specifically Walt Disney World.
The park specifically.
So there was a lot of stuff in there that we felt, we are uniquely qualified to appreciate this. And that's why I went with coordinator's choice for that one. But there were a number of people who feel that this video got robbed and should have had it instead. It turns out that it had the single top pre-screening score from our judges, and it is absolutely a wonderfully put together video. The match is perfect, so I'm just gonna play it.
2019 Upbeat Runner-Up. Love it. So we can do a few things here. We can take questions. We can play a couple extra little videos from the old days and some stories. Why don't we start maybe, if anyone has any questions, whether it be about the history of AnimeNEXT AMV contests or AMVs in general?
Yeah.
Right up front.
How many of the previous competitions do you still have on record?
How many do we have on record? So
All of them, right?
I am fairly certain I have everything that we did from 2003 to 2008. In front of me right now, I have the 05 SVHS and the 08 Master DVD. I'm pretty sure that I have 3 through 8 there. I guess 9 through 11 would be a question for that coordinator of the era.
Right. I don't know about if he has the files or anything, but he did post all of the information to animemusicvideos.org.
Yeah, the information is definitely documented. The the tapes with the intros and the title cards and everything. At least for the stuff that we've done, we probably all have, right?
I can say back to 2012, I know that some of the early years I now only have in DVD form.
Yeah.
But everything since about, I think, 2015, still have the files.
Yeah.
I still have the literal plastic bag, grocery bag, with every entry from 2003.
Right. We moved from our apartment to our first house, and we're like, do we throw this stuff out? I'm like, no, we might need it someday.
This is our first
Never
year. We're going to
knowing
keep this.
in 2023, we bring a
Throw it
panel.
up in the garage.
It's up in the garage. Go get it.
We still have that, yeah.
This might be a good segue into another video of things that we kept that maybe we shouldn't have. It was a panel that we ran.
Yeah.
What year was this?
This was 2004.
A panel, an AMV panel at AnimeNEXT 2004, where I guess it was a AMV 101 panel.
Yeah.
That we ran just like tips and tricks, technical, artistic questions and answers, and advice. Looking back on this video, I kind of think it's a little bit too mean-spirited. Maybe I'm getting soft in my old age,
Maybe.
But it's got some laughs to it. It's how would you describe this, Mike? How to not make an AMV?
Yeah, maybe a little how not to make an AMV, but just like real basic stuff of, you probably didn't even think about this, but like, we're going to notice this.
Because we've done so many contests and made so many videos that like we're going to notice this weird stuff.
But just to be clear, before we play the video, you made this yourselves.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
yes. I want to be clear. We weren't like picking fun at other people's videos. We deliberately made a
Purposefully
crap
made it.
video.
And actually, at the time, it was kind of influential to me. It's like, okay, just don't do these
do this.
things.
Don't do this.
Yeah.
Or else
I found
Mike and Mary
it
gonna
kind
get-
of helpful at the time. So
I can confirm Katie and I still quote this video to this day.
I will admit, like, when we're cooking, I'll still say lines from this nonsense. You'll see. It's bad.
Struggled so hard to make footage look bad too. Like, all right, I gotta put it down to 160 by 120 and just like slow it down to 12 frames a second. Like, how do I make this look bad?
That was fun, though. Make it
It
look
was
bad.
fun.
I applaud you for your use of Street Fighter 2V.
Yeah. Just looking back on it though, like, who remembers DivX and the fact that that was
That was a thing.
At this point, who remembers interlacing?
interrelation? My God, that was the lesson we learned in 2002. Actually, with that Trigun video, when we first submitted it to AWA, we simultaneously submitted it to AWA and AnimeNEXT. We didn't know what interlacing was, what field orders were, and when we got the tapes
We
back,
learned the hard way.
it was just stuttering, like, oh, okay, like trial by fire that year for sure. God, all right, that was a long time ago. Any other questions about AMVs or the contest or AnimeNEXT?
If not, we got a couple more videos to show, too.
Yeah, so it definitely, again, so the years that we ran, even the year that we first entered, 2002 to 2008, on animemusicvideos.org, if you search up AnimeNEXT and whatever respective year, there's an entire thread and post with every video that was a part of the contest, links if that respective editor uploaded their video to that site. The point of that site always was intended to be an ever-growing archive of every AMV ever created, and at that point it definitely was. And so the links
That was
were
the time when the
included.
site was probably the most active,
It's
too.
max, for sure. How about you, Peter, for the years that you ran?
Right, so I continued that trend of every year on the AnimeMusicVideos.org forum. That's a lot to say. You
The
could,
org.
It could just be
the org.
a.
.org.
You can also get to it at a-m-v.org.
That's complicated.
So, like, if you go to the forum, search for AnimeNEXT, and you will see every year since 2012. I started a thread. I'd eventually, after the con, post the entire playlist of all the finalists, mark the winners, mark the percentage of the vote, mark the runners-up, et cetera, et cetera. So yes, but as for the availability of each video, because this is another question that we get every year, that's not up to us. The distribution of each video is up to their individual creators. A lot of times what you will have is somebody wants to keep their video off the internet for a while and keep it exclusive to conventions, especially if it's like a comedy that relies on surprise and crowd effervescence.
There was one year that you got home first and you posted like the list of the winners before I got home that night. I was like, here's the official list. I know this Peter guy posted some stuff, but excuse me, I have the vote tally here at least.
The unofficial.
There's always somebody. I mean, and these days I'm not on Twitter, so
Yeah.
someone always ends up posting the unofficial list first.
We didn't have cell phones. Oh God. I gotta stop talking here.
What else we got in the queue there?
So we have, so you remember Real Ninjas? That was 2005. Let me pull up my notes here. This was such an important year. It had Real Ninjas, but in action, the winner had 18% of the votes. It doesn't sound like a lot. There was a 3-way tie for second place where they all had 15% of the votes. So that's why we say it is so important to get your votes in. It can really make a difference in what the winner of that contest is. So Peter, it's the robot video. I'm sure you have it here. This was the action winner from 2005. Thanks, Brad. That's what Again, the 2005 action winner by 3% versus a 3-way tie for second place. Just to kind of address a prior point here, I strongly believe in history and preservation, which is why I've kept all the stuff from over the years. I know we're just about out of time. We'll open it up to maybe 1 or 2 more questions. I think it's important to keep all this stuff and to keep a record of it, which is why I'm so proud of my 20 prior year old self for making all those forum posts back then, detailing everything that existed, but also keeping the master copies of these videos. We have a friend who runs the Otakon AMV contest. He's been digitally archiving since the initial Otakon 1994, I believe, was the first year AMV contest. And I'm going to give him my SVHS masters as well to make sure that we archive and have all this stuff for the future. Because I want to see this panel in 20 years with someone else who's doing the exact same thing. So,
Couldn't have said it better myself.
any last questions before we get out of here for the day? About AnimeNEXT AMVs? Yeah.
So this was like in 21 years. Are we counting the years that was skipped or?
2021, yeah, it's been 2 decades, sure.
Well,
Exactly.
do we want the con to be able to drink or not?
I like your way of thinking. That last video, I hope we hear at karaoke one year.
I was just thinking, like, I need to put this in my books.
Japan Break Industries, yeah, good stuff. It's exactly 5:30, but we got any last questions? Shout it out, let's go. Otherwise, I'll just hang out in the hall and
Waiting to be mugged with your SVHS tapes.
Yeah,
Please
feel free to
don't
come
mug
up
me.
on and gawk at some of the artifacts we've
I
got.
have the 2002 program guide in mint
Kia
quality.
Asamiya art. It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
We want to thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you for being a part of this
Thank
thing.
you.